How about that Red River Rivalry? The countdown continues, and we have a guy here who this is just funny how the full circle of life. JaMarkus McFarland knew him when he was maybe my height. He was at my height when he was probably 5 years old um, in Lufkin, Texas. And ironically, I moved from there to Oklahoma City, and he was signed by Oklahoma. Great defensive tackle, JaMarkus. Welcome. This is your first visit to Stories Inside the Man Cave.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad you're having me on here. I'm excited to get this going.
This is I am too, man. And I have a little surprise for you. This is from your playing days, and it's kind of a sample of what it was like for you when you were at Oklahoma. And for people who don't know, he was a highly recruited defensive tackle. And this is, I can't remember what year, but this is you at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas against, those loved Longhorns.
Nothing there.
So there wasn't a lot of love for you. That you always had a pretty decent game against the Longhorns, right?
Yeah, man. I was fortunate to play in that game for 4 years and lost it my freshman year, but I actually didn't get out there. I had Gerald McCoy in front of me. Didn't redshirt, but didn't get a chance to take a snap. But I hang my hat on the 3 times I actually got to cross the white lines versus those guys. I came out with a W, and a couple ones was ahead pretty good there.
Now, JaMarkus, after you were finished with your career, I think you had a few professional stops, professional football. Then you got into coaching and grad assistant at OU.
Yep.
And this is a shameless plug. Me being the proud Stephen F. Austin alum, you are now the assistant head coach. How often has the Red River Rivalry come up in that Lumberjack coaching office this week already?
Oh man, it is. It's a heartstrings. I am still a Texas kid, born and raised. So I grew up watching Vince Young run around just like everybody else, and rooting for him. So in the beginning, it was definitely a tough choice to even leave the state, and that was just a right decision for me and my family at the time and for my future. And that's why I chose to go. And it was a blessing to me because I was fortunate enough to, after briefly being with the Chargers and then going on and playing in Canada, between that, I actually coached at a high school there in Norman, and on that team was Coach Bob Stoops' twin boys. And
wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were at that school coaching.
Yeah, and I was there, and at Norman North, and he came out to a practice and seen me doing, and asked me if this is something that I actually enjoyed doing. I told him, Coach, I love it. I had cleats on coaching, and he was like, man, I remember that. You're crazy. I remember it though, And fast forward a couple of years passed, and I was still on a contract there in Canada and happened to be back in Norman training in the indoor facility after my season was up. And he walks down and tells me he has an opportunity for me if I'm still wanting to coach. And I called my agent, and that was that. And that begun my coach career there at Oklahoma. So had them battles on the grass there as a player, but also got to be a part of the program on the coaching side of things. And they're doing a great thing down there right now, man. They're stacking some championships on, but being on the field and then being in the box as well and experiencing it from both sides was special for me, and I think that did lead me down here to SFA. I got a true Texas coach that is rooting for it. Me and my defensive end coach, we battled it out mentioned because he's a diehard Texas fan, and I tell him I root for the Longhorns until they play the Sooners. So this week is some strings between us.
Now you have Marcus Walker. He was there while we were all in the Oklahoma City, Norman area. Great defensive back.
Yeah.
Now he's from the Dallas area, right?
Yeah, he's from Waco.
Waco.
Played high school there in Waco, and went on. Well, call those guys the OGs because they got it rocking and kept it rocking there with a lot of national championship appearances when he played. But we know this week is important. It's important to our brotherhood as well as theirs. And this game is just one of those ones that give you 365 days worth of rooting, and you get that hat, man. You get to walk around with that gold hat afterwards. It's a whole another 45 minutes after that game of celebration, and you want to be on that side of things.
Now, tell me what it's like, because I know I'll tell you this. obviously I did not have enough talent to even sniff any opportunity to play in this game. But growing up, as you mentioned, as a kid, you watched this game at an early age. But I'll tell you this, 17 times I have made it a point, and it was tradition, to slowly go down that tunnel, take it in before the game. It is iconic, J Mac. I mean, what is it like as a player as you go down for a practice, warming up, come back up, and then does your head peel to the left or right, and you look at the guy that you're going to be butting heads with, that big rival of yours, when you go up and down that tunnel?
Yeah, man, it's built up. I was we knew that all week it was going to be exciting. I remember my first experience, but they do a good job there in Oklahoma of kind of educating you about the history of the game to where it's built up that it means a lot for one. So the whole week, I mean, even just hearing Texas's fight song at practice, it just riles your blood up, to get you going, to where when you ride down on the buses and you passing on the 2-lane highway, every car you pass is rooting for you as you travel down, just to soak the experience. It builds you up to when you get to the stadium and drive through the fair of all those people that's rooting, and you get a lot of spear fingers is what I call them at you as well. That just gets you ready to get off that bus. And once you do walk down that tunnel, I kind of compare it to like the gladiator days of you're going into a bowl where everybody's going to watch you battle it out, man. And it's bragging rights, but tracking down and hearing your cleats stomp against that concrete, and you may even get a peek at Big Bevo laid there on the side. So it is some intensity of once you actually get down to the field of the lay of the land, and how big the stadium really is. And in the beginning, it's empty, and as people trickle in, the next time you take the field, you kind of get in the rhythm over your years as a player. Because my first experience, not knowing what to expect. I mean, coming out, you always come out on the Sooner side, so coming out, you got a lot of hoorah for you. But as you cross the 50, it's like a wave of just negativity hits you in the face, and you can't even get a good prayer in once you jog down to the other end zone, because you're hearing all kind of words while you're trying to talk to the Lord, It is definitely one of a kind of experience. I was blessed to experience it as a high school student as well, going to that game, and I knew right then that this was a game I wanted to play in. Didn't know yet which side I would be on, but I knew I wanted to experience it as a player.
I can't remember. There's a ton of trash talk in this game, probably more than most. Do you recall who was the biggest trash talking fool, if you will, that you remember going up against against Texas? I mean, and was it relentless? Because I've also heard, stories told that, the hits are harder and those speak louder than any words.
I think you get more of that kind of chatter before the game. It's a lot of intensity in this one, and both teams are athletic. That's one thing about it is it's freak shows on both sides of it, athletically gifted. So it comes down to execution. So you really get into a locked-in phase. Unless you make a big play, then it kind of gets the rah-rah going. But in the warm-ups, it's really just kind of showing who's been in the gym the longest, So and some of those guys out there are just kind of flexing it, to kind of show that we're ready and we're ready to go, because it is most time an early kick. But, also on those guys on the other side of the field, a lot of those kids, play with you. A lot of those guys played in tournaments or grew up down the street or whatever it was. I mean, I had a friend in Alex Okafor. We roomed together there at the Army Bowl, and that me and him, we didn't play necessarily against each other on the grass, but we're in different colors. But so it's a friendly rivalry. And after the game, you'll see guys taking pictures together and stuff like that. But in between those 60 minutes, man, it's who wants it the best, And so it is you get a little chirp here and there if something gets riled, but it's about execution. It's about who's going to do their job in the heat of the battle and intensity, because every play matters. Every single play matters.
Real quick before we put a wrap on this, man, and this is I'm not a big fan of predictions, but from what you've seen, I've kind of analyzed both OU and Texas as being very similar. I mean, obviously Spencer Rattler is an elite quarterback who was criticized by the fans, I think, a week or two ago. And because I think UT and OU both are having some struggles on the offensive line, trying to adapt. What's your overall analysis from a coach's point of view from what you've seen from both teams?
Like I said, it's very similar. Every year I always look for the commonalities of things that are going to translate over each year in this game, and they can be and whatever. But this one is a totally different vibe, man. It's athletic young men that all week has been on edge. Everything that they've done, I mean, from being at breakfast checks to being in class, every small detail has been fine, combed through to where they're ready on Saturday to perform. And I think both of these teams are very talented. They both got something to prove. Both quarterbacks are like you said, they've had some struggles, but Casey Thompson, I mean, I played with his brother there at Oklahoma, so I know that family tie lines, and he's from Oklahoma, so it's going to be some big plays that he wants to make, as well as Spencer's want to make some plays. So it's going to be exciting, and this one, it always comes down to the last series. No matter, it's some games that's been in there sprinkled in, but I was a part of one that the last play was 46 seconds. So it literally comes down to who wants it the best, and the most, and who's going to put it all online. So I think both of these guys are primed up for battle. But again, it's going to come down to last series, man. And as a coach, looking from the outside in, I see talent. I see athletic guys that just got to execute series after series on all three facets of the game. And the team that does that the most, they're going to come out wearing that gold hat, man.
And I do remember a picture with you wearing that golden hat trophy. And you're not a horns down type guy, are you? Because you really can. You're a coach now, and it's that PR, right? Or do you throw it down every now and then?
I would say, man, it's about you. I feel like as a Sooner, it's something that I've always felt is you got to do something to do that. It's not just let me throw this up in your face. I'm not that kind of guy. Like, I'm not that person in general. Like, if I beat you at something, I earn the right to brag.
Right? So correct.
In that sense, it's not a response to what you're saying to me. Is I just got you. That kind of deal to me. So I don't just run around funning. Like you said, I'm still a Texas guy from Texas. So I'm not necessarily wishing anything negative amongst Longhorns. Just when they play us, man. Just when they play us, I'm a Sooner fan, man, and a Sooner till I die. So that's the week that I'm going to be rooting for us the hardest. But I just want to see these kids go out there and be healthy and play hard. And you want to see it battle out the right way with all the best players out there, and shoot, may the best man win.
100%. That is spoken well from a guy who's not only grew up with the game, played in it, was one of the hardest working guys who masters his craft, and is I would say you're your own biggest critic and still are. And I have to, another shameless plug. I'm grateful you're at my alma mater, Stephen F. Austin. Who do you guys have this week?
We have Jacksonville State this week. It'll be a top 25 matchup. We broke into the top 25 since 2015, and our guys are riled up of just continue to grow. This week is responding from last week and moving on and moving forward to what his program deserves to be.
Hey, Red River Rivalry week. We got to throw in an Axum Jacks. And J-Mac, tell your family hello, and we appreciate it. There it is. There's the football, the 39-27 win over Texas. What year is that?
This was 2018.
That was okay.
Yep. Big 12 championship.
Oh, that was the Big 12 championship with Tom Herman. The second one
twice. Yep, you're to play them twice, man. It rarely happens, but I can keep that up here in the office so I can root off some of these guys on this week. But yeah, man, it's all about Axum Jacks right now, man. We're going to get this thing rolling. But I will be following up to make sure that my guys handle business this weekend.
Hey, there's no doubt in my mind, man. I'm proud of you. And you give Coach Carthel there give him hell from clinch. Give him a hard time, man. That entire coaching staff at Stephen F., I'm proud of all you guys. You guys are doing a phenomenal job and putting us on the map.
I will do, man. I will do. I'll make you proud.
Hey, you already have. Hey, for JaMarkus McFarland and the Man Cave Boys, Coach Mo, Big Mike, and Hardball Hards, we out.